So you're having trouble with the ABUS 7240. Well, don't worry, because I'm going to show you exactly how to pick this thing. By the end of this video, you are going to be a pro. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to pick it, and then I'm going to show you all those tips and tricks applied and how they do work to get the lock open. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to very nicely sum it all up for you. And if this video does not help you pick this lock, then you must really just suck at picking. I'm kidding. Look, guys, sometimes locks are hard to pick, and it does take some practice, all right? So just keep at it, and eventually you will get your lock open. Let's get right to it. All right, guys, so we're starting out with this ABUS 7240. The first thing you're going to notice is the wonky, weird sideways keyway. It can be very, intimidating, but don't worry, because you're going to slay this thing. Now, you might want to try bottom of keyway tension. However, I don't like using bottom of keyway because it doesn't leave me enough room between the top of the tensioner here and the bottom of the key pins. There's not enough room for my pick, and I overset a lot of stuff. And I just don't like oversetting a bunch of shit and fighting with the keyway. So in order to free up my keyway, I just use top of keyway tension on this lock. So I'm just going to flip my Z-bar over and use the shorter end right there in the top of the keyway, okay? For tensioning this lock, sometimes you need heavier tension, sometimes you need lighter tension. So you just have to go through and feel each pin. You got to just try out different tensions as you're going through this lock. So for this lock, I'm going to be using a standard flat hook. Now, I prefer the flat hook because there's more area at the tip of that pick there for me to be able to use it to hit those pointy pins that are inside this lock. Sometimes you can slide off the pins with a rounded or pointed hook, and it doesn't even really feel like you're sliding off the pins. It just feels like you suck at picking. And you don't realize that what's happening is you're just slipping and sliding all around the lock. Now, you can use a rounded hook or a pointy hook if you're good at that. But I find that I slide off the pins way too much using those picks, and I just don't like them. Next thing is you can pick straight up from the bottom, just going straight up with your pick and hit each of these pins. And that's what we're going to do on our first pass to set these pins. We're going to go straight up from the bottom. Once you get your first couple passes done on this lock, sometimes the pins end up being higher up in the keyway at this point. And so going up straight from the bottom might not work out for you. You might have to go to the side here and kind of angle your pick this way in order to get the rest of the pins set. And sometimes you have to just take the pin, push it up, follow it with your pick, and kind of go around and set it. Just work through the keyway however you have to, but you can start out right from the bottom, and that's what we're going to do. Sometimes this first pin needs set because it's so close to the end of the keyway, there's nothing to really leave your pick off of, so you got to freehand it sometimes. Now that I've given you all my secret tips and tricks, I'm going to prove to you that they actually do work. First things first, I'm just going to go through and go straight up from the bottom and get anything that is giving me any kind of counter rotation or that might be binding, and give them a click. And it seems like this first pin here needs set, and I got a little bit of a false set out of that, so I'm going to just go through and check everything again. Making a second round through the lock. Got one here. All right. So, now that I've got them set, I might have to kind of go around the keyway now to follow anything up, because sometimes they are sitting a little higher up in the keyway now. So that's what I'm going to do. If I have to, I will just follow the pin up to set it. So that's what we're doing this time around. Right there, and let's see. Just going to check everything one last time. All right, and it feels like this last pin here. And there it is. So to sum it up, people, here's the tips that I can give you for picking the 7240. You might want to try top of keyway tension. Now, a side note on top of keyway tension, that tensioner might go flying out of that keyway 100 times. If you've never top of keyway tension before, you're going to have some troubles. And you just have to keep doing it until it quits flying out. all right? That's just how it is. We all got to go through it. Yes, you could pick up from the bottom on this lock, especially just when you're first starting out and you're first getting the pins set. Try going up from the bottom to get as many set as you can. And then, of course, if you're getting that first pin, it might have to be free-handed to be picked because there's nothing to lever off of. So once you get everything initially set, you might have to follow the pins through the keyway. And what do I mean by that? You might just have to angle your pick differently or kind of lever off of that piece of warding there at the top in order to set the last of those pins, all right? Because sometimes they just end up higher up in the keyway and you have to go further to reach them. And don't forget, guys, a flat hook works wonders on this lock because these pointy key pins, you can just slide right off them if you are using a pointed or rounded hook. I hope you found this video helpful. Check out this video right here if you want some more information on the 7240 and a couple other locks that you may run into trouble with. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Subscribe.